Oh, you seem to have come here looking for Killjoys discussion, and you've just found me. Oh, you're looking at my private streams at the moment. We are talking about some greening pains today. If you'd like to talk about Fancy and Gared and who's the children, we are going to be talking about that as well as the character updates on Pip, Davin, Delle-Seyah, Pri, and Lucy. Ooh, Lucy, I love me some Lucy. Oh, and there's a baby that is getting larger by the moment. There's a lot to talk about, and we will be joining you on the discussions of Killjoys Season 4, Episode 5, with special guest showrunner Adam Barken, my creator, Fraulein. I have my Fraulein here. Enjoy the show.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Well, that was weird.
That was great.
Yeah, that was weird.
I know, it came out of nowhere. I was like, what?
I was trying to talk, and there was just this weird German voice.
Yeah, strange.
Attempt at German voice in my headphones.
It was a good try. It was a good try. Solid effort.
Solid effort. Welcome to the show. We're talking about Killjoys Season 4, Episode 5, Greening Pains. We have a great episode. We have the person on the show who wrote it. We also have the showrunner, who's the same person who wrote it, calling us in about 10 minutes. We're going to be breaking down tons of stuff today. We got Fancy, Gared and the kids, Turin, Weej and the Armada, character updates, and the baby Utopia and the kidnapping, plus a big reveal for the Dutch main storyline. I'm your host, Stephen Lemieux. We're breaking down the show, as always, with my favorite co-host, Shannon O'Connor.
Hey, everybody. I'm Shannon. And again, I'm so excited to be here talking about Killjoys, Episode 5.
And as I said, we do have a special guest today calling in a little bit. We're going to do more of an interview towards the end, so we might not have time to really get to our quotes, but I'll probably bring some of them up while we're talking to Adam Barken.
I'm sure we'll squeeze them in somehow.
Yeah. So it was a really good episode. First of all, I want to know what your overall thoughts on it were.
Overall, I thought it was almost too good to be true. Like, I feel like everyone was just kind of getting along towards the end, and everything was kind of working out. Obviously, minus the dolls coming back to life. But I'm like, okay, something's about to hit the fan pretty soon here, because this is too happy-go-lucky right now.
As Weej said, something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And Turin wasn't even listening to him. I'm like, Turin, you better listen up. Weej knows what's up.
I think it's funny that you say, like, things are all looking up and it's all good, when literally Gared is stuck with a bunch of children on a ship going towards nowhere.
Okay, in that sense, but I'm talking about everybody on Lucy. I guess that's kind of what because Pip also is bad news bears right now. But
Pip's a little bit bad news bears.
But their relationship, like the family, the band's all back together again, kind of a thing. So I think that's why I'm thinking.
They're on a mission from God.
Yeah.
Getting the band back together. Yeah, it was a great episode.
Yeah,
I thought
awesome.
A lot happened. We got a little bit of a reveal with the Dutch storyline. We have the spider coming to fruition in Pip with his hand tapping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The whispers. The dolls kind of have a payoff this episode. Delle-Seyah has more humanity this episode. So
thank goodness.
I'm excited to talk about it. We're going to go in order of least important to most important, because I want to be talking about the baby and Utopia and stuff with Adam.
Yes.
But right now, let's just go ahead and really get through Fancy, Gared, and the kids. Fancy, Gared, and the children who are kidnapped.
Boo up.
They have a bright future ahead of them.
Boo up.
Probably not level 6. Uh-oh. So
Boo up.
Fancy making his recurrence. Shout out to Sean Bake.
Yeah.
Always great to see.
And he's so intimidating. Holy cow. Like in the bar when he just pulls that guy's arm out. Not pulls it out, but you know.
I was happy to see Gared, who's more of a comedic character, interacting with Fancy, who's so stoic and so straight-laced. It's like, better I do the talking. No, I'll do the talking. Like, as you said, almost rips the dude's arm off.
Right.
Like, it's like, what do you know about the kids?
Yeah, they're a good balance. They're a good team.
So,
I like 'em.
Interestingly enough, this isn't a case of the week. We have the kids' storyline continuing into more episodes.
Yeah.
The kids were kidnapped by people with infrared sensors to see the handprints that were put on the door. Fancy and Gared do some reconnaissance and see that there's a guy around there putting the handprint on doors of children houses in Old Town. And then when they're going to make a move, Gared's like, all right, I'm going to stop this from happening. And then the dude who was putting the handprints on shoots Fancy.
Yep. And
Gared gets his ass kicked. Not as strong. He didn't have several dozen stim packs to get him through that fight.
I know, right? That fight was hilarious.
And we see that's the Hullen.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
Terrible.
Usually not a good thing when the Hullen want kids.
Right, because they're trying to find the natural Hullen born child, right?
That's what Dutch assumes.
Right.
But I don't think that's the case.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's cool to think about is, well, let's just throw some speculation out there. Why does the lady want kids?
So she can just take over everything quicker, right? Or start them young, maybe?
Maybe.
Easier to, like, manipulate? I don't know.
That's the thing. So, like, she made the kid from Delle-Seyah and Davin because Hullen can't have children.
Yeah.
So she's either going to turn these kids into Hullen dolls or something else. So we can speculate later in the show as to what that could be.
Yeah.
Sad for Gared, though. He gets kidnapped and...
But he gives the kids hope. I love it. He's like this hero. He's sitting there with all these kids terrified, and he's like, I'm going to get you out of here. I promise.
He's the man.
I love that.
Dude, Gared is jacked.
And Pri just freaking loves him.
That dude is muscular as hell. It's crazy. I was like, dang, he could beat all these kids up.
Or he can save them all. He can carry them
beat
all out
up
with him.
He can beat all the kids. Gared is the big kid on campus now.
Right?
He's going to get all their lunch money. And then we have Pri, of course, finding Fancy. Interesting that they didn't kill Fancy.
Yeah, that is actually.
Right?
Yeah, that is peculiar.
Like, they shoot him. Fancy's good at getting shot and not dying. It's like
a cat.
It's like casting
lives.
agencies all around Toronto are like, we need a guy who's a good actor who's good at getting shot but not dying.
Right.
Let's get Sean. So I like this storyline. I like that it's continuing to next week. I like that they threw in some legends of basically the, not Mogwai. What is the word I'm looking for? Like an old wives' tale of people who come and take the children in the night.
Yeah. And
that it's funny because Gared recounts the tale and it doesn't rhyme at all. And he's like, hey, I don't write the legends.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're creepy with the red, at the beginning of the episode. That was really creepy.
They remind me
they came in there.
of is it not the Jabbas?
In Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
In the I should know
Red
this.
Hoods,
my freaking handle, Shannon Skywalker. I should
know.
know this.
I was depending on you.
I'm sorry to let you
To
down.
be fair, my Sci-Fi card has now been revoked. But yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
We can move on into Turin, Weej, and the Armada. This is another quick storyline. It's an episode to introduce Weej.
Who's so sweet.
Weej was a little bit fried in the brain last time we saw him.
Yeah, I know. And he's just innocent. And I feel like he's going to come in clutch.
I think so.
He's going to save the day, I feel like.
Question for you.
Okay.
Do you think they stab something in Weej's neck and make him human again, or do they keep him as half doll?
I think he's half doll.
Forevermore?
Forevermore.
You don't
possibly.
think Weej is on the team?
Well, no, because if he's half doll, then that means Lady's going to be able to take control of him.
Yeah, so I feel like we need
to
unhullen him.
Yeah, I feel like it all needs to come out.
Also, he reminds me of Grey Worm from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Like, the actor looks very similar.
Yeah,
kind of dig
I
it.
see the
He's the
resemblance.
same kind of personality of toned down.
Right.
Grey Worm's definitely had a weird childhood, and then this guy's kind of half aware of everything.
Yeah.
But we know his name's Weej.
Right. Well, and things are slowly coming to him.
Yeah.
So just more information is coming out.
And he's going to have his own skate shop called Ouija Board.
Yeah. So is Weej his real name? Like his birth given name? Or is that...
I think so. I think that's his name from before he became level 6.
Okay.
So a lot of these Hullen, I don't think we've gone into where they come from. A lot of them originally were level 6ers, but I think that was a different branch of the whole Hullen.
Gotcha.
And these ones that are the dolls were Anila's main task force. And I think she's just picked him up from all over. She was the original level 6, but level 6 was just the term for the ones in the rack that they took.
Gotcha.
Because I feel like Anila's taken people from all over and not just the quad.
Yeah, definitely. Ivan Soto says, Weej is Hullen. Zeph messing with his brain, that has made him not evil.
Got it. So, yeah. Apparently all you need to do to make somebody not evil is to shock their brain several hundred times until...
Just reset.
Yeah.
You know?
Unplug it and plug it back in.
Yeah, or it's like Nintendo 64 style.
Yeah, maybe that's what they need to do with the Hullen. Yeah. With the green. The green is frozen right now. They just need to pull the cartridge out, blow on it, put it back in.
Reboot.
Yeah, it worked for 3 systems straight. NES, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo 64. So
we solved it. We solved the problem.
I think we did. High five.
There we go.
So Yeah, Turin. I love Weej and Turin. It's great because the only person who can deal with the dry humor of weird hair Turin is somebody who's only half human at the moment.
Yeah, who's like not really.
And it's just like, something wrong. Yeah, I know there's something wrong. Something wrong. Yeah, thanks. And then it's like, where are they going? I don't know. It was a rhetorical question. I wonder what they're up to. Is that a rhetorical question?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Witty Weej.
The only person who can work with Turin without hating him.
Yeah, that's true.
And we find out that the Armana is basically frozen. The whole thing's frozen because every time the green was the power source, now that the green is shut down, they can't get the systems to work. Except apparently all the dolls know how to get the systems to work because they can fly all the ships out.
I know.
All the dolls. We saved Turin though. That was nice.
Yeah.
They're all armed. He stops him from shooting. And then he gives him an extra long hug afterwards.
See? Gosh, Weej. Special place in my heart.
Coming in clutch.
He really is. I'm saying 100%.
But you know what else is coming in clutch? Our fans.
Yeah, they are.
You know what our fans can do? They can help us out.
Yeah, they can.
By subscribing.
For sure. Hey, AfterBuzzers, our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and so much more. And there's no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help, everybody. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made just for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did in the comments and we'll thank you on air. For now, thank you for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk.
Yeah, we do so many after shows here that, there's one for everybody. Even if you don't like Killjoys, which you're wrong for not liking Killjoys.
It's amazing.
There's a lot that you can do, so make sure you subscribe to your favorite channels. We're having a little bit of Skype issues, but Juliet, I'm going to go ahead and text you the number to call Adam with right now, and that way we can get him on the line and have the showrunner of Killjoys.
Heck yeah.
Season 4 on
so
the line.
exciting.
It's going to be great. So Juliet, just check your phone, type that number into Skype, and we should be good to go.
Has he been on other after shows?
I haven't had Adam.
Do you know?
No, not yet.
No?
Not yet.
Cool.
So Michelle Lovretta is the creator of Killjoys. She's been the showrunner up until season 4, and they brought on Adam for the final 2 seasons.
Nice.
Or at least for this season, I'm assuming for the last season as well. We can ask him and see the story behind that. But for now, once we're getting on the line, let's go ahead and rush through some character updates, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I wanted to do different topics for these characters, but it's kind of like just quick hits to nibble on.
Okay.
First up, Pip. Pip was awesome this episode.
Oh, I think he's awesome every episode.
Pip was awesome only this episode. No other episode. No, I'm just kidding.
Strictly this episode.
Strictly this episode. I liked that he's still the coward, but he has the contacts. He has a great nervous energy. Like, the actor does the great nervous energy really well.
Yeah, he does.
And then when they offer him, like, you can leave if you'd like to, and he's just like, I'm out.
Yep.
And the description of all the things that Craven could do to them.
Right, with the lungs coming out of your butt and eyes melting out of your head or whatever he said.
Yeah. When you're pooping your brain out of your butthole, don't come crying to me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so funny.
You know what else is funny? The fact that I haven't introduced our special guest yet. I believe we have Adam Barken on the line, showrunner of Killjoys Season 4 and I believe Season 5. Maybe he can correct me on that. Adam, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, so good. How are you?
I am great. And yes, Season 4 and Season 5. That is what I am running.
Hell yeah. Awesome. And you know what I like about that? It means that these 2 seasons are going to be tied together in a nice, good knot with a satisfying finale. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah. When Michelle and I were talking about whether we were coming back or not after Season 3, one of the things we actually said was, it would be amazing if we could do 2 seasons, because we had a pretty cool idea for where we could take and get to at the end of Season 4. And if we knew for sure we were coming back, we knew we could pay that off really cool. And hopefully you'll agree that we did, because we got to do pretty much exactly what we had hoped to do.
I'm pretty excited. We'll get to a full interview at the end of the show too, because I don't want to get too far into this. But I do want to ask, because we have been introduced to Weej, and now we have, is the name of the kid Jack? We haven't gotten a name yet, but there was a tweet somebody sent out that said it's JAQ is the name of the child. Is that accurate?
I have seen that. I would say wait to see the episode and see whether those people's spies were accurate or not.
Got it. Cool. Okay, so no name drop on the child yet. But are we still going to be getting? You guys are so great at building these characters and not killing them. I've said this since the After Show season 1, where I'm like, okay, they introduce characters and they go away for a bit, but at least we have those threads open. So if you ever need to pick them up later at a storyline, then it makes sense. And you guys have done that flawlessly. Are we still going to be getting new characters throughout the rest of season 4 that'll transfer into season 5? Or are we almost at our solid core Mass Effect team for the rest of the series?
Well, we're definitely going to be meeting new people throughout season 4 and into season 5. But, as we wind down for sure, we also wanted to make sure we were, paying off the characters that we already really love. So it's certainly not like we're going to be throwing huge numbers of people, but I would say that you're going to see characters who you think you know in some pretty different lights. I think that's a very oblique way of saying what's to come. But people you think you know, people you've seen do certain things, people who think they know who they are all going to be very different in a few episodes.
And that leads us to a great segue into our character updates. So right now, Adam, we're going through some of the characters this episode because they have so much going on with them. So we're talking about Pip right off the bat, and Pip is one that now we learn that he was such a family man. He becomes this like wet mother in this episode where he's just taking care of the child, and the first word out of that child's mouth is Pip.
I love it.
And what I really think is interesting with Pip is after this storyline, the really quick back and forth between the child and Pip when they're on Utopia and he's taking him off, and he mentions something about I'm taking you to see her, and the child says something about you'll die before you see her. And what this means to me is that the child has some level of knowledge, which makes sense because if all of the knowledge from the green is in the green and the child was made with the green, it makes sense that he would have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
But what this also said to me is that now when we have a situation where Pip is on the outs with the crew, the child can be the one to basically reveal that Pip is a good guy. And I like that.
Yeah.
It puts the child in a new light to actually have something to fight for. We now know that the child is a fan of Pip, which is good.
Yeah.
And I don't know, am I onto something here, Adam?
Well, look, one of the things I love about you, Stephen, is you are an incredibly astute viewer of this show.
Right.
As I had said when I tweeted before, right, I was amazed. I listened to the podcast and heard you lay out the green and the concept of the green in a way that literally took us, months of our own internal discussions to figure out how to say it. And you laid it out very clearly.
Yeah.
So I will, again, since I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, I would say that definitely Pip is obviously a huge character this season, and Pip's inherent goodness, I think, by now should be clear to everybody. And what he's done is going to have reverberations, no question. But don't forget as well that along with this kid who knows him, he's also got Zeph in his corner, somebody who is really pulling for him. And one of my favorite storylines is coming up in episode 6 with what Zeph does as a result of what Pip did. And what she tries to do to save him. And hopefully it'll surprise you. But believe me, Pip is a major, major part of this season's story.
And I loved the segue into the hand when his hand started tapping. When Davin was like, have you ever noticed hands? Like, have you ever studied hands? And then it goes right into Pip and him tapping. Like, that was so cool.
So I'm interested to see... Oh, go ahead, Adam.
No, I was just going to say that's a very, very cool. Yeah, you notice that. I mean, sometimes those are the sorts of things you do. You can't even plan those in script. That comes down to our brilliant editors who are able to kind of pick up those images and go, oh look, it goes from there to there. It's always when you do that, you kind of feel like the story gods are watching over and are keeping us warm.
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
I'm wondering if we're gonna get a scene where we put his hand underneath something, like on a keyboard, and see what it types out.
Oh.
Because I'd love to see what the message is that's being sent into Pip's mind right now that he's like signaling. And I think Zeph's gonna be the one to figure out. Zeph's always the one to figure out these like
Always.
really obscure things. I
Yeah.
mean, she basically killed Johnny to cure him, so I'm wondering what she'll do to somebody that she's sleeping with to cure him.
But I think her emotions are
Yeah,
going to come out
exactly.
more of how much she actually likes him. Because, you know, she's trying to, like, shield it a little bit. And so I think him in danger is going to bring out this, like, urgency and, like, wow, I actually like him more than I'm admitting kind of a thing.
And we see that a little bit this episode where he's talking about how he's a family man, and then she says something about like, well, it wasn't like that in my family. He's like, well, I didn't know you.
Right.
So it's like, kind of, it's really cool to basically be like, he is the caretaker, and she's seeing that more, that she can't like treat people that way because they have these personality traits. But again, they were gonna die surrounded by dolls, so like
Right.
you can't really blame her.
Yeah.
Moving on to Davin, we have Davin coming to terms with he's a father. Meanwhile, super high on stim packs.
Oh. We actually have a question. Adam, if you could answer this. What is a stim? Is it like a mix of laughing gas and steroids?
I opened up the show with the StarCraft theme song, and I'm really hoping that you're pulling some stim packs from the Marines and StarCraft, Adam, but I might be wrong.
StarCraft, and of course Fallout. Yeah, absolutely, that
Yes.
was definitely my call out to two of the greatest games ever. So yeah, I mean, I would say stim packs are a mix of adrenaline and steroids and sure painkillers and anything you're going to need to stick into yourself to then go in and get in a crazy punch fight with somebody. Which, to be perfectly honest, was, I think, you know, whenever you're breaking a story, you're kind of looking for that moment that makes you go, that I totally want to write that, and I want to build everything around that. And for us, that story was when we realized that Dav and this guy would just jack each other up and then just punch the hell out of each other. Awesome. There, we have an episode. That's a Killjoys episode. Let's do it.
Yeah.
No, that's seriously, like, updating on Davin, like, we get his... I'm glad we get his goofy side a little bit, too, this episode, because we really have been getting the serious, emotional Davin this entire season.
Yeah.
And I love that it was just a normal fight, but as soon as you start jabbing people with, like... if you make it like superhuman drugs, like normal fights just become so much more cooler.
Yeah.
And then the two characters that we're introduced to, Branson, and I don't think we got the secretary's name. Did that character have a name?
You know what? He does. I'd have to actually look it up in the script again to remember. The actor's Evan Stern, who's a really fantastic comedic actor. He's right now a regular on Letterkenny, which is a Canadian show that I think just started playing in the States on Hulu, I believe.
Oh, cool.
And if you want to check out a really hilarious, very Canadian, small-town Canadian show, he's on that. And so when we had a chance to bring him on, we brought him on and knew he would just bring that amazingly kind of... We need you want for the joke to work, you need kind of a little weaselly guy who doesn't look like he'd be able to withstand Dav's, flick of Dav's finger, and then jack him up and have Dav basically break his arm in his stomach was what we wanted to do. So he's wonderful.
Yeah.
It does set the tone for like, okay, these stim packs are strong. Because without that, then it's just Branson and Dav stabbing themselves and fighting each other.
Yeah, because Dad was like, what, you think that's going to save you?
Right?
Totally did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then we have, of course, that wonderful, huge stunt actor, and then just watching him and Dav just beat the crap out of each other is just too much fun.
That was so realistic looking, too, that fight. Like, that was really good.
Yeah. We have a really amazing stunt coordinating team that just puts together some really fantastic fights.
I can tell. Awesome.
Request for season 5. I want the secretary man to meet Pri, and I want the back and forth there. Pri and Gared and Branson and secretary dude who we don't have the name of. Moving on to Delle-Seyah really quick. I love that we're going with the human route with Delle-Seyah and the scene between her and Johnny, of course, because she killed Johnny's love. She killed Potter, that bitch.
Yep.
For real.
But now she's coming to terms. When you got to remember that she killed Potter when she was human, and then Johnny shot her, and that's when she was healed by becoming Hullen. So she was a normal person when she committed murder and really destroyed Johnny in that way.
So she has no excuse.
She has no excuse. So it's interesting that she's feeling emotions now because she definitely wasn't when she was a human before. So it took her being human and then becoming a Hullen, doing all that stuff, and then re-becoming human to actually experience these emotions. But she still hates her servants.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
but
absolutely. That's the thing. She's still Delle-Seyah. Whether she's Hullen or she's human, she will always be Delle-Seyah Kendrick.
Right. Well, and I feel like she's just in an overwhelming place right now where it's like feelings of birth and having a baby and then all these human emotions, it's just like so much going on, but she deserves to be
I also
really
worry
sad.
though, because you have sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
You have the green kind of, in some ways it's like a drug, and I wonder if her humanity is just withdrawal. And then, like, we're thinking she's turning a new leaf, but in a few episodes she'll just be like, it wore off, and she like shoots somebody that we care about or something like that. I just think Delle-Seyah will always go for number one, regardless of how emotional she is.
Yeah.
Number one is Delle-Seyah in this case.
Absolutely. Although I will say that she does have another number one in her life, right? And that's Anila. And so that's the other thing that's different about Delle-Seyah now, along with the fact that, yes, she did this horrible thing, which she never really processed. Who knows what Delle-Seyah would have gone through if she hadn't become Hullen. But she became Hullen, so was able to, in a sense, push certain of those emotions away. But then, then she fell in love. She met the love of her life. And that love of her life, as we know, we saw in 4, is certainly uppermost in her mind, not just because of, the fact that she was carrying her child, but also I think that relationship is very real. And so for Delle-Seyah, that is the focus now, really, is figuring out a way to reconnect with this woman who also she knows is the only person who could potentially defeat the lady.
Yeah. Do you think the relationship is as real for Anila as it is for Delle-Seyah?
Definitely.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a spoiler to say, for sure. I think, I think what we wanted to get to certainly in season 3 was this idea of this obviously fearsome, terrifying woman, but who once she, met Delle-Seyah, actually saw and then realized the truth of her life, saw a chance at some kind of human connection and happiness. It was obviously not intended, but it happened, and it's kind of one of our favorite relationships in the show, and it's certainly one that we plan to keep exploring in seasons 4 and 5.
Nice.
Sweet.
I love that.
Digging it.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Johnny return to his state of remembering that Potter was killed by Delle-Seyah? Because I feel like they've been a little too nicey-nicey this season.
Fair enough. It's one of those things where obviously it's still something that's always there. I think, even in that scene, while maybe it's not mentioned, I think if you look at Aaron's performance, there's still true anger and hatred even in those eyes, right? It's like he said back in season 3, he said, I will never forgive you. She said, I would respect you if you did. And that's true, right? I mean, and there's no reason for him to have to. But that also doesn't mean that he isn't also Johnny and recognizes one another human, even somebody who did something as horrible as Delle-Seyah is in pain. And as we said, what we realized when we were coming up with that storyline was on that ship, and in a lot of ways, anywhere, these are two of people who are the only two who can really talk about what this experience is like. So I think Johnny will never forget what happened. But he's also, and I think, in trying to move on and trying to find some new aspect in his life. So, but that's not to say that we don't find ways to bring it back up again during this season, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, it's not exactly like he's going to kill his niece's mother.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. They're family now, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's very complicated.
So moving on to Pre, obviously one of our favorites on the season.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Really, really good setup with when they find out they're not going back to the quad, but then Dutch decides to drop him off. Really great scene where he talks about how he's been a warlord, he's been a sexer, he's been an entrepreneur, which is great.
Funny, cool.
And he basically says that like Gared is the one thing that he like always misses. So we really get a tie down on this relationship of like what they are, because there is that question up until now of like, are they just like dating for fun or whatever?
Right.
But
Is
it
it a
really
flame?
seems like a love thing now, just in time for Gared to be shipped off to be the big kid among kids. So that's kind of sad, but I think we'll definitely see Pre taking a more active role in the season now that he has a reason to.
Right.
Before it's his bar, he's got to stay with the bar, but now we are put in perspective that Gared comes before the bar and comes before his warlord status and everything. So I'm excited that this is the inspiration you use for Pre's character to be involved in the fight forevermore.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, they got married at the end of last season, so
Yeah.
they are now husband and husband, and so this is what's coming up as a storyline we called in the room the last of the Pre-Hekins, And so we had to start it off with Pri saying, where's my man? He will find him. And so where that takes him is super fun.
What's interesting, though, is, like, I thought this episode was more powerful, like, with establishing them together than the wedding, which is weird to me. Because now that, now that I think about it, like, yeah, they got married, but I still was like, I don't know, Gared and Pri are like buddy-buddy. It didn't seem that.
Is it because they didn't express their emotions very deeply, and now it's kind of coming out more?
I think so. It's like, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Right. Yeah. And they're expressing it, which is so sweet.
Hey, I mean, that's, and it is sure, a classic dramatic thing, right? It's like you can have two people together, and they can tell you they love each other, it's fine. It's when they go through something really horrible, like in this case, losing, that you see how far they will go. And that's certainly where we're taking Pri. And it's Tom Allison. I would write for that guy, day and night. He's just such an absolute joy. And Pri is obviously, right from the get-go was a character we loved, but he just grew and grew. And Gared and Gavin Fox, who came in, and Gared really just literally started as a jerk in season 2, tried to take over his bar. And it literally came out of a moment when, after Pri had stabbed him through the hand, and I remember Michelle coming in the day after watching the rushes and saying, I think Pri might like him. And that immediately just set us off in season 3, starting to play with that. And the more we gave the two, the more they just lit up the screen. So you just can't help but write for those guys.
It's so cool that you guys don't even know what their relationship is going to be yet while writing it. And you kind of like make it happen as the seasons go, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that.
It's one of my favorite parts of TV, right? Yeah. And it's what I mean. Yes, it's important for people to feel like there's a plan, there's an end point. We know what this story is. We've known for a long time where it's going, but that doesn't mean that we can't hopefully be surprised and discover along the way. It was similar with, I would say, with Pip, where Atticus came in and he was in for one role, and he could have been a great single episode player back in season 3. And again, he just so delighted us with his performance, and we just said, we got to have him back, and we brought him back for episode 9. And then it was like, he just kept being great. And once we put him with Zeph and just saw, oh yeah, that just seemed so natural. So you just, in television, you have to be open to discovering that, and then when you are, it pays off hugely.
And that makes sense because with Pip's character and Zeph's character, there was the weird dynamic last season that like it was kind of off kilter, and it's like, oh, okay, so they were writing as they went, like to make this character work. And now this season it's so much more smoothed out, like with their relationship and their back and forth and their dynamic, that we like the characters a lot more this season. Like, would you agree with that?
Oh, I totally. Team Awesome Force.
Team Awesome Force. I do want to make sure we have time to talk with you at length. So moving on to Lucy, the only update we got with Lucy is that she's not talking to Johnny because he inserted another AI into her. A little bit upset about that.
I loved that. That was so funny.
It was a good back and forth. Craven, who did the voice of Craven? Because
that is Julian Doucette, one of our writer-producers who actually wrote who wrote episode this season, episode 3, and he's also doing episode 9. He's been with us since season 2. He was also the voice of the jerky computer, whose name I'm not going to remember, but was at the end of season 2 when they stormed Spring Hill and Lucy had to deal with another jerky. So we do it. Julian's a fantastic actor as well, and a great voice actor, and he's actually the voice of Ottawa. The Ottawa transit system.
Really?
Because he is known for doing mild authority very well. And so literally when we were breaking the story in the room, and we were like, at first we said, okay, there's this guy, and we love the idea that he's just a voice. That's a lot of fun. And then Julian just started doing different voices for us. At one point, Craven was Scottish, and then he was French, and then we settled on German, just that for a particular kind of Austrian accent, which we really loved, and which seemed very, could be both kind of dirty but also supercilious. And so Julian, I get to spend all day with Julian, and it makes me laugh with all his awesome voices.
Well, I hope he talks to you in his German accent all the time. It's very enjoyable.
It's so great.
So moving on from Lucy, the baby and Utopia. We talked a little bit about Utopia already. Yeah. Basically, they go kidnap Craven, put him on the ship and all that. The baby.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I'll admit it. I was wrong last episode.
Hey, that's the first step admitting.
I remember hearing you going, I think they're going to hold on to this for a while. I was like, oh, maybe not. Look, it's one of those things where, it was really funny. I remember when I was checking out some of the season-ending podcasts from last season, and pretty much everybody, to a woman and man, said, was like, well, they got the baby growing fast thing, so you know how that works. And look, we all know sci-fi. We all know sci-fi tropes, and also, anybody who doesn't know, babies are not easy to shoot around. They're expensive, and you have to always have twins, and it's not easy to have a baby on a show. So we felt like, okay, look, if people are already knowing that's coming, and we knew it was going to be coming, then let's just do it as fast as possible, so that it puts us in as much jeopardy as possible, and then move on. So yeah, I think you knew that it was coming, but you maybe didn't know it was coming that quickly.
Right. Oh my gosh.
I'm glad we got some special effects with the spine sticking out.
Oh, that was creepy.
That was cool.
Well, I was expecting the baby just to be walking around, and that scene when they heard him and they couldn't find him. Well, and then he was like 5. How old was he? He was like 5 or something.
Yeah, 5 or so.
Yeah.
6 years old. He's a toddler. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just old enough to make me upset that we don't have just a baby body with Khlyen's head.
Such a disturbing image.
It is such a disturbing image. Rob Stewart loves that so much. Every time I see him, he's like, come on, you got to get this done. Rob, this is really creeping me out. Stop it.
I mean, if there's ever something in the green where we can play with her memories a bit, it could work. We're mixing up memories. We're in a jumble. Everything's getting mixed together. Johnny has a muscular body now. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that was a little shady.
He looks good. He's toned. He looks good.
Muscles. I've seen them. They're beautiful.
No, I believe
he's taken his shirt off on the show before.
Yeah,
Yell was excited about it. I think we had him on the show for that episode. And the eyeliner, the budget for eyeliner in the show is through the roof.
Oh, for sure.
Season 5 might not have any eyeliner if they decide to get special effects for a lot more. And
their biggest line items.
Utopia reminded me a lot. I thought we had seen it before, but then I was reminded. I was reminded of the collector ship, where the guy has all the different collections of stuff that blew up.
Okay.
So I think I was confusing it with that, because this is the first time we see.
No,
we have seen.
No, we were in Utopia. Yeah, and the funny thing was, and again, you want to not make your new fans be totally confused, so we didn't want to go too deep into it. But yeah, so we went to Utopia back in season 1. If you cast your memory back and remember, when Dutch was trying to, when they were looking into Jaeger and trying to figure out who had messed with Dav's mind. And also when they were looking for a way to figure out that doodad that had been stuck in Dutch, which allowed her to connect to Khlyen, they went to Utopia, because that's where basically all the nasty stuff is and where all the tech people are. Okay. And that's where Dav got high again, or before, and then ended up hooking up with Dutch the first time. So, and all of that, of course, is just said in when Pip in this episode says, do you guys know Utopia? And they all get the big grin on their face. Because, oh yeah, they know Utopia. They had some good times there.
And this is another episode where Dav and Dutch make out again.
Yeah.
Hey, we got some Dutch Avon. Oh God,
action.
It's the Dutch Avon.
I know. There to come up with a shipper term for those two.
Yeah.
I like hashtag Dutch Oven.
Hey, that just makes me think of that.
Yeah, but if they can talk about Craven entering through the back door, then we can use hashtag Dutch Oven.
Let's do it.
And now we get the last thing before we have 5 minutes of straight interview is the Dutch main storyline reveal. And throughout this episode, we get the little breadcrumbs of Johnny remembering things different and Dutch remembering things different. Yep. And it finally makes sense why, when we see the scene with the assassin and the blur comes over her face, it wasn't something disguising her.
Right.
It was the memory had actually changed to hide the fact that she is not she at all.
Exactly.
Digging it.
I have a question, though, and I don't know if you can answer this or if I'm completely off. So that assassin also, as the woman that Dutch remembers, she did the little whistle, because I have this conspiracy thing with the whistle that sounds like a bird. Yeah, So she did that whistle to unlock the lock that she had. So is that kind of an indicator that that's a memory that Khlyen changed? Or no? Does that have nothing to do with it?
You know what? Not intentionally. No,
Okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
That was, in a sense, the thing that happened in the moment. It was just basically the lock that was used.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that there are other clues in the memory, some of which you've seen and some of which you don't know about yet, that are there as part of this kind of breadcrumb trail. that Khlyen has left. And I have to say, it was a real treat to watch the audience watch through the first 3 episodes, and especially watch that, and everyone having a sense of why that story, what was it, and us kind of sitting back going, ooh, well, hopefully they're going to be excited when they realize, yeah, it's because with Khlyen in the green, what could he do? And as Dutch said, knowing that Dutch would, her mind would be open to the lady, how could you hide something in plain view that the lady couldn't recognize? And so where that takes it, and who that face belongs to, is a big part of our for the next half of the season.
So for the sake of my analogy of last week, it is Khlyen put something in Dropbox and then copied the file onto Dutch and then altered the passwords.
Yeah, there you go.
So the lady's got the file, but it's just a little bit, it's not the updated file.
Exactly.
It's dated August 20th. Sorry, we're on the 21st now. And then, that was crazy. I didn't see scenes for next week, so I don't know what's coming.
Oh, I did.
But
I did. I watched them for once.
We might have time for.
Pretty cool. It's pretty fun. There's going to be if this season of us, or this episode of 5 was like Ocean's 11 meets Altered States, I see the next one is like the Terminator meets the Karate Kid. It's a whole bunch of fun.
I was trying to figure out if it was Ocean's 11 or Mission Impossible that you guys were using as the basis, because in Mission Impossible, the newest one, it has straight up that same thing where like he's explaining the plan and it's like showing the guys doing it. And then I gotta love the scene of Dutch and Johnny just being like, thumbs up.
See, I got Austin Powers vibes for some reason on that part.
All of it. Absolutely all of it. I mean, that episode in particular, we really felt like, okay, we've just went through some real dark stuff, especially with Johnny, and we had the super emotional tour de force of the baby. So we really wanted something shiny and bright and flashy and fun. And I'm a big fan of the heist gone wrong story. So so we just figured it was a perfect time to do that. And I'm just honored that Mission Impossible would steal from us. That's really flattering. I say to them, anything else they want to take, they're welcome.
So alternate title for this episode, The Kreshian Job.
Nice. Yeah.
Dig it. Greening pains.
Oh my gosh.
So let's talk to you a little bit, Adam, because we haven't been talking to you at all.
I know.
Tell us, what number is your favorite episode this season?
This season? Oh, that's a really hard one. I would say I loved, and it's always how things turn out. I mean, 4 was a real challenge. How do you set all of that stuff on all those people, tell the baby story, still tell, and I felt it turned out really beautifully. And I would say episode 8 that's coming up, and I'm not really going to say why, but it's a more of a Dav-centric story, taking him to a place we haven't been back to in a long time. I think is a slightly different vibe for the season, and I really love how that one turned out. And for me, the show always hits its sweet spot when it's like the perfect mix of heart, humor, and dick jokes, and I think we just kind of nailed it in that one. So
Yes, what a beautiful marriage that is.
Exactly.
Heart, humor, dick jokes.
You have a question?
Who has been? Is there one particular character that you kind of relate to or kind of have a sweet spot for?
I would say I love writing them all, but I find Davin to be the one who I find always really interesting. I think it might just be, her older brother kind of feels like he has to take care of everybody. Definitely feels in over his head. There were some moments when we were working on 4 and you had Dav feeling like, oh my God, everything's falling apart and everyone's expecting me to do stuff. And I remember going into the writing room saying, boy, I'm really feeling for Dav. And they're all like, really, showrunner? Are you feeling for Dav? Are you feeling completely overwhelmed and you feel like everything's falling apart?
Oh.
And I was like, shut up, guys. You all suck. So maybe, I think Dav is always a really great one. And then I would say in terms of the character whose voice I probably have the most fun writing, it's probably Pri.
Okay.
And like I said, especially when Pri kind of found good, it's just, his warmth, his love of everybody, but also just his sauciness. And again, once you get to know Tom, it's so much fun. So, I would say those 2 are some of my faves to write for.
I love that.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love
So we only have time for one more question. So what I want to know, kind of is the tone for the rest of season 4 and season 5. Is everything going to be as high stakes as these first 5 episodes have been, or are we going to go back to kind of the bounty of the week and little off hilter storylines? Because I don't know how many episodes are in season 4, how many are in 5, and is it all just like climactic up until the end at this point?
Right. Well, I would say, so we got 10 episodes for each season, as we've always had, and definitely things have ramped up. I mean, look, the rack is blown up. There are no warrants to speak of anymore. Michelle and I are still very much the believers that television are not movies. The reason why you like television is because you like to see a story with a beginning, middle, and end. That doesn't mean you don't have, obviously, lots of ongoing stories, but you want to feel like each episode, like this one is the one. They go to Utopia. This is the one, So, but I would say that if 5 was almost like a little bit of a pause and a reset, from here on in, it's pretty much a rocket.
Sweet.
Now, there are a couple of detours in a sense of, okay, well, now we have to go here, now we have to go there, but it all is still really tied to the main story, which is, what is the lady, why is she after Jack, and how are we going to stop her from getting him? So that takes us in, right to the end of season 4. Then we end season 4 on what, I hope you guys agree, and what we certainly feel is a real scary ending. And season 5 becomes, again, something of a rocket as we realize just how high the stakes have become again, and how we're going to stop it all in the nick of time. So, I would say that the days of, hey, let's just hang out and go on a fun, fancy mission are pretty much done. The lady's out. We know what she wants. She's not wasting any time. So neither can our guys.
War for the universe. Well,
scary ending.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. But Adam, you said you'd love to come on for another episode, correct?
Absolutely. No, it was super fun. And like I said, I'm a big fan of the show. Really enjoy listening to you guys. It's always great to hear fans, but also just really great to hear you guys and just how on point you are, and then how wonderfully off point you are, which is also great. And sometimes I go, wow, that's a great idea. I wish we had thought of that. So it's great stuff, guys. Really enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So nice chatting with you.
If fans want to follow you, they can find you at Adam Barken on Twitter, correct?
That is right. Come on over. I try to give out as many behind-the-scenes pics as I can. And certainly come check out all the people on Killjoys. We like to engage with people on Twitter a lot.
All right. Thank you so much, Adam, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody. That has been the showrunner of Killjoys Season 4 and Season 5, Adam Barken. Thank you to Adam for coming on the show. If you want to support the show, please hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and a comment. Shout out to Lana Vase for making another review. Says, I am marathoning the 4 episodes I missed now. Glad to see this after show again. Happy to see an old face. To even Lemieux, as well as the Shannon O'Connor. She also said, glad to see this after show again. So that's exciting. Give me your Twitter and tell me your prediction to where the ships are going.
So my Twitter is Shan OCOHCEE.
She has one now.
I know, I have one.
Follow her.
Follow. And so where it's going, well, I think Pip, some bad things are going to happen with Pip, and Zeph is going to help save him, and Dutch, I don't know, I feel like Dutch is going to go kind of downhill, or something intense is going to happen with Dutch. I don't know anything specific.
I think the ships are going to the home world of where the lady is from. She's frozen in the green, and she made Jack to be the only thing that she can propagate her species with. Off the cuff prediction. You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLEMIEUX on Twitter. Support my other show, The Immortal Index, where I talk about Xinsha and Wuxia on a weekly basis and all the Chinese web novels surrounding it. We'll be back next week, hope maybe with a special guest, maybe not, to talk about episode 6 of season 4. Please share this video with your friends. There's a lot of cool stuff. If people enjoy Killjoys, I hope they'll enjoy this interview. And we will see you guys next time on the Killjoys After Show here at AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed
herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.